Welcome to The Explainer. Today, we're taking a deep dive into a text that has literally influenced millions of people over millennia. But, we aren't just going to look at it as some dusty ancient scripture. As it turns out, the Bhagavad Gita actually acts as a highly relatable, incredibly practical manual for modern life. Seriously, whether you're navigating a massive boardroom crisis, dealing with heavy family drama, or just fighting your own internal doubts, the source material we are exploring today frames the Gita as the ultimate guidebook for human psychology. Okay, let's lay out our roadmap for today. First, we'll look at a universal guidebook. Second, the secret of 18. Third, origins of the war. Fourth, the first live broadcast. Fifth, Arjuna's battlefield breakdown. And finally, we'll wrap up with the inner battlefield. All right, Section 1, a universal guidebook, Beyond Boundaries. What's absolutely fascinating in our source material is that, right from the jump, the Bhagavad Gita is not framed as being boxed into one geography, one specific time period, or one isolated group of people. No, it's really presented as a set of rules and profound wisdom for all of humanity. Take Mahatma Gandhi, for example. He didn't turn to the Gita just for abstract theoretical philosophy. He used it as an active, everyday tool to combat doubt and despair. When he literally saw no ray of hope, this text was his anchor, and that's a huge testament to its practical, everyday utility. To truly grasp what the Gita is, the source provides us with this incredibly beautiful classic metaphor. In ancient Indian philosophy, the Upanishads are the vast, massively complex foundational texts. Think of them as the cows. Arjuna, the human warrior who's desperately seeking answers, well, he's the calf. Krishna, the divine guide, is the milkman. And the Gita itself? It's the immortal milk. It's the highly accessible, perfectly distilled essence of all that heavy, complex philosophy, packaged in a way that is ready for us to actually consume and digest. Moving right along to Section 2, The Secret of 18, Hidden Patterns. So, as we peel back the layers of this epic, we hit upon something truly wild, the mystical, recurring significance of the number 18. It's literally woven into the very fabric of the text in ways that are mathematically mind-blowing. It's incredible how perfectly everything aligns here. The massive epic that contains the Gita, the Mahabharata, is divided into exactly 18 books, or parvas. The Gita itself, exactly 18 chapters. The Great War at Kurukshetra lasted exactly 18 days. The total size of the armies involved was 18 Akshuhinis, which were these ancient military divisions. And the math gets even crazier. A single division consists of 21,870 elephants. If you add those digits up, 2 plus 1 plus 8 plus 7 plus 0, you get 18. The chariots, the horses, and the foot soldiers all follow that exact same math. The source even maps this directly to the human body, which is said to have 18 components: 10 senses, 5 life forces, the mind, the intellect, and the ego. And if we look at the actual structure of the Gita itself, breaking down its 700 total verses reveals exactly who is doing the heavy lifting in this epic dialogue. Krishna, acting as the divine guide, speaks 574 verses. Arjuna, representing the struggling human, asks questions across 84 verses. Sanjaya, the narrator, gets 41, and the blind king Dhritarashtra kicks the whole thing off with exactly one single verse. Okay, Section 3, Origins of the War, the Inevitable Clash. To really understand the Gita, we have to understand the absolute pressure cooker environment it was spoken in. This wasn't just some random skirmish. It was a devastating, deeply personal family feud between cousins, the Pandavas and the Kauravas. Our source tracks a very steady, very intense escalation. It all started with deep jealousy and greed from the Kaurava side, specifically a guy named Duryodhana. This led to a totally rigged dice game, the utter humiliation of the Pandavas, and their subsequent exile into the forest. But the ultimate breaking point? When the Pandavas finally returned from exile and simply asked for their rightful share of the kingdom, Duryodhana's greed was so absolute, he refused to give them even a needle's point of land. So, war became entirely inevitable. Which brings us to Section 4, the first live broadcast, Sanjaya's divine vision. Now remember that one single verse spoken by the blind king Dhritarashtra? Well, he was the father of the Kauravas, and he just couldn't bear to physically go and watch his own sons die in battle. So the great sage Vyasa granted a man named Sanjaya a divine vision. And this is brilliantly framed as the ancient equivalent of a modern, real-time live broadcast. It's almost sci-fi. Sanjaya was given the power to read the minds and emotions of the warriors, travel at the speed of thought, and remain completely unharmed by the flying weapons all around him.
His entire job was to sit safely with the king and narrate the horror and the philosophy of the war completely live.
Let's zoom right into the action with Section 5, Arjuna's battlefield breakdown, the ground level.
Picture the incredibly iconic scene that sets off the entire Gita. Arjuna, who is the absolute greatest warrior of his time, asks his charioteer Krishna to park their chariot right in the dead center of these two massive roaring armies. And it's in this exact, highly stressful position, literally caught in the middle, that Arjuna looks around. He sees his grandfathers, his favorite teachers, his cousins, and he experiences a total, overwhelming psychological breakdown. The atmosphere out there is just unbelievably tense. The source material describes the terrifying start of the war through sound. The battlefield was so massive that warriors used specific, thunderous conch shells just to communicate and signal their readiness. And each major warrior had a uniquely named conch. Krishna blew the Panchajanya, Arjuna sounded the Devadatta, Bhima blew the Pandra. Just imagine the deafening, bone-rattling sound of these shells echoing across the plains, signaling to everyone that the slaughter was about to begin. And hearing that terrifying sound, seeing the faces of his loved ones, Arjuna literally drops his weapons in despair. The source text breaks down his grief into three incredibly relatable, very human psychological hurdles. First, there's ragam, or attachment, his deep emotional ties to the family and guru standing right there on the opposing side. Second, sokam, which is this crushing sorrow over the fact that a war means the inevitable death of those very people. And third, moham, or delusion, an utter confusion about what his actual duty is. He's terrified that by destroying his family, he's going to destroy the very fabric of society. He isn't paralyzed by cowardice, not at all. He's paralyzed by overthinking and complete emotional overwhelm.
And that leads us to our final part, Section 6, the inner battlefield, the mirror. This brilliantly illustrates the ultimate metaphor of the Gita. Yes, it's set on a physical battlefield, Kurukshetra. The external war is the Pandavas, who represent dharma, or righteousness, fighting the Kauravas, who represent adharma, or unrighteousness. But the source text deeply emphasizes that this epic battlefield is actually a mirror. The internal war is happening right now, inside our own minds. The Pandavas are our good qualities, things like patience, truth, and duty. The Kauravas are our bad qualities, our greed, our ego, our jealousy. The Gita is an everyday guide for navigating this internal conflict, offering us the exact wisdom we need to conquer our own emotional breakdowns and act with real clarity. So, the crucial takeaway here is that this ancient text was designed to be applied to your life right now. It's literally a manual to help wipe your tears, stand back up, and face your daily duties with true courage. Which leaves us with one final thought to ponder as we wrap up this explainer. Take a look at your own life, your own struggles, and your own doubts. What is the Kurukshetra war happening inside your mind today? And more importantly, are you ready to face it?